inside of man. And the challenge with many of us is that there is capability on our inside, but it has not been unlocked. And this series is dedicated to unlocking the wonders of our inner capabilities, the miraculous things that God has created inside us. How do we give expression to them? I'm trying as much as possible not to directly quote from the Bible, but somewhere the Bible always catches up with me. You see, the Bible says that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. How do we tap into that level of capability that we are made with? And that is the essence of this particular series. And by divine directive, we are here this evening to look at the exact principles, the bodies of knowledge, and the things that you can do on a practical level so that you're able to tap into your God-given capability. Out of a stroke of some creative thinking, we had the good grace to invite my brother and my friend. We were supposed to start another series today, but something happened, and I believe that it's always all for good. And I have this evening with me here a dear friend and brother of many years. One of the things a lot of people don't know about me was that I did comedy before. Okay, that's Sister Gloria, birthday celebrant of today. Happy birthday, Sister Gloria. Don't know, show your face to everybody before we do, before I bring Oli Malam up. So Oli Malam has been a brother and friend. In my own days in comedy, he was remarkable. Oh, whoa. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Apologies for that. There was an internet glitch on my laptop. Can we all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, there was an internet glitch on my laptop. I'm sorry that happened. Apologies, please. So I will right now bring up my brother and my friend. In my days in comedy, one of the few people that I literally appreciate a lot. He's a remarkable guy, extremely intelligent, brilliant man, Christian entrepreneur. Oli Malam, please open up your video. Please don't be shy. Why is your video off? He's a remarkable guy, one who I've known for many years. Extremely intelligent young man, has multiple graces, a lot of creativity, and many people would not know that I tried, one of the things I tried before was comedy. He was one of the icons I used to see right on the stage, and I aspired, oh, look at this guy, he's already known. My own comedy stint was about 3-4 years, and I actually had events on national TV at the time. Some person saw my clip recently, so I understand the moment in the life of one who does comedy. Comedy is not easy to do, and tonight, Oli Malam will be taking us through the inner workings of comedy, and particularly on the self-confidence aspect. This evening, our topic, we're looking at specifically how to practically build confidence capital. How do you create the internal space for your personal greatness and genius? There's a joke among comedians, and I hope you guys can still see me. What if the joke is not funny? The fear of the comedian is, what if the joke is not funny? What if that thing you are saying, people don't laugh? What if it doesn't succeed? What gives somebody the temerity, the inner confidence capital to launch out into comedy? Now, if you've seen any comedian struggle on stage, it's a very difficult moment. is not a moment, it's not a good moment. I've been opportune to struggle on stage in front of a crowd of no less than 10,000 people. And trust me, I started speaking before audiences early in life, probably at about the age of 12 or 13 thereabout. I already was very confident with speaking in front of a crowd. So I'm not afraid of a crowd. But comedy was another kettle of fish. And I was doing well in comedy until one day. Just a minute. I need to do something. Apologies. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Very well, sir. We can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes,
We
sir.
can hear you. We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm trying to. Okay, but you cannot see me yet.
No.
Okay, don't worry. Since you can hear me, so I'm laying the background. So until I had a large audience one day, and literally I was to speak before them and do comedy. It was very large. Most likely, Oli Malam was also at that event on that particular day, but at that time, he probably didn't know me. I didn't know him. So what literally happened was that I was not funny. My tongue, the size of the crowd shut me up. Now, don't make a mistake. I am comfortable with speaking before a crowd. Let me say this. I led literary and debating when I was about the age of 13 already in my secondary school. When I did arguments at that age, it was difficult to fault.
Funlow, WhatsApp audio.
Oli Malam?
Yes, sir.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you just yet.
Are we fine? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I can hear I can see you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have
and
now.
so that day, myself. Okay. Okay, don't worry, it's going to come on. So that day, my self-confidence went out of the room. Okay, thank you so much. My self-confidence went out of the room and I could not do much. It was a very humbling and painful experience for me. But I remember as I was coming down from the stage that there was one of the people in the audience who came and hugged me and he said, "Don't worry, it's part of being a comedian." I can't forget, I won't mention the person's name, but it's someone that is also very dear to me. Why is this? Hello?
Hello, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, I'll stay on my phone for a while. I'll stay on my phone
Okay.
for a while so
I can
I'll
see you now.
stabilize. I don't know what's happening to that. Yes. So that was a story. and it was a big lesson for me in self-confidence. So if anybody talks about self-confidence and how to convert that into a line of business, without your self-confidence, you cannot be a comedian at that level. It is absolutely impossible for you to succeed if it is absolutely impossible for you to succeed if I know you guys are hearing my voice in echo.
Yes, sir. It's
Yes.
Okay, but
You
is
need
it
to
better
take
now?
a device off. You need to take one device away from the other so you can be clear, sir. If the two
Okay, but what
devices
about
are
now?
so close, it's okay. It's better though.
Okay, let's leave it. Let's continue.
mm,
So this evening, yes. I've logged out of one. It just keeps logging itself back in. That's the funny part. One of the devices keeps logging itself back in the laptop. So this evening, we want to see specifically how do you build your self-confidence and your self-esteem capacity to the point at which you can offer it in exchange for value. How do you build yourself up internally and your gift up and have the confidence in your gifts and your capabilities until you are able to create the necessary vibe for you to develop within your business. There are many people who have talents, they have capabilities, they have giftings, they have abilities within their souls, but they are not able to live those things out because they are not confident. The Bible says, do not cast away your confidence that has a great recompense of reward.
mm,
It is confidence that is rewarded. That's why it's called confidence capital. It is confidence that is rewarded. How do you create that confidence capital? What in the world gave you the impression, for example, that you are funny? Now, I have been a comedian, and so I can identify with the moment of frailty. I can identify with 30 seconds before the joke. I can identify you when you crack a joke, and there is a typical, in a large audience, let's say a typical 45 seconds that nobody laughs, and then all of a sudden they understand you and they start laughing. Those moments can kill you. Processes necessary to build your self-esteem and your self-confidence to the point to which it becomes capital, or you can capitalize on it. I'll give a second example. In my secondary school days, there used to be a particular stadium in Ibadan that is only people in the very high, the university leagues in Oyo State that go and play there. All of a sudden, my secondary school won Principal's Cup at the local level, and they were supposed to go and play on that pitch in Ibadan. The team my secondary school lost that particular game to the stadium, not to the other team. The stadium was too big, the lights were too large. The feeling of the stadium was what the best players on our local pitch could not even lift a leg. People were playing football backwards. All their skill sets withdrawn from them because the pitch they were playing on was far larger than the stage in their minds or in their souls. Many of us will be placed on such pitches and such stages in life. Are you going to say this because they placed you on a larger particular pitch? That's why you can't deliver. Or are you going to say that you're not going to aspire for the higher things? The other team used to practice on that pitch because they were based in the capital city at Ibadan. while we were coming from another town into Ibadan. And I can't forget that experience because I was right in the match. I went to watch. I traveled with the school bus to go and look. I saw firsthand capital. Those guys capitalized on the fact that they had practiced on that pitch. And so this evening, your self-confidence and self-esteem has energy. It has capital. It has a look and feel. How do you build it up? Those are the kind of things Oli Malam will take us to. Oli Malam, welcome. Thank you for being our guest today. And
Thank you very much.
Yes, and I just want to say to you quickly, please, no holds back. We want to learn. So number one, what gave you the confidence that you could be a comedian and be a successful one at that?
Okay.
Just a minute. I'm still asking just a minute. Number two, what are the factors that affected that confidence or wanted to pull down that confidence? I want us to understand the construct of that confidence and how it looks on the inside. How does it look? How does it feel? What are the energies around self-confidence? Yeah, over to you, my brother.
So good evening, everybody. Good evening, sir. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. For everyone who can hear me, you can see me. It's a privilege to be associated with Pastor Adeoye. You know, I've known him for how many years? I can't start doing the calculation now. But he's an erudite scholar, you know, a teacher, a psychologist. I refer to him as a living encyclopedia. Thank you very much for these platforms. I do not take this opportunity for granted. The first question, you said what made me feel that, you know, that I could start comedy and go and you know, start comedy as a profession. To start with, it wasn't I didn't think that I would do comedy as a you know, as a business and career. I just knew that in our family we were okay. I took it from my mother. My mother is a very funny woman, naturally funny, very strict, industrious, and all of that. You know, so I grew up in this wonderful family, and before the comedy trade started coming out, you know, I had this very rough background, and I want everybody to pay rapt attention to this. I had this aunt who felt that I was nothing. You know, she used to bully me. She used to abuse me verbally. She used to make me understand I was nothing. And that was my formative stage. I was still young. I think from the age of 6, 7, you know, where I could run errands and all of that. She almost destroyed my life. Well, that's the second part. I was going to bring that, I was going to give that answer to the second question. But the first one, comedy. Everybody used to say around me, and that's why you should be around the right people. They used to say, oh, you are funny, you are this, you are that. I've always been a church boy. I used to play drums. I used to be an instrumentalist, you know. So we used to have people come from different parts. Alan Blue, Alan Blue, Ultimate Malam, Boy Oh Boy. You know, we had quite a number of comedians who used to come to my church then. They would do their comedy and go and all of that. But theirs wasn't Christian comedy. They were just, you know, comedians who would come to church and all of that, make people laugh, say some very terrible jokes sometimes. I mean, jokes that were not church friendly or that were not permitted in church and all of that. So they will come and go, they'll come and go, they'll come and go, they'll come and go. And my friends started pushing me that I should start comedy. I could do this thing because naturally they thought I was funny. I didn't think I was. I was just being natural. I didn't form. I didn't try to be like anybody, you know. But there was a problem I had. To stand before people. At the time, we had about 3,000 people in the audience. And, you know, it was a monthly thing. And I thought about it, me, stand before these people. I'll just melt like candle exposed to fire, you know. I didn't think that I could do it. So by my own self, I didn't feel I was qualified to do anything. You know, I didn't think I was qualified to do comedy, to stand before people, to say hallelujah. I would disappear. Not to talk of stand before people and make people laugh. You know, now because I had that bad upbringing, the background I had, my aunt had finished me. My aunt, my teacher, primary two teacher. You know, at that young stage in life, they had started finishing me. My self-esteem was usually people say people have low self-esteem, so low self-esteem. If you have low self-esteem, at least you should thank God you have a measure of esteem, right? Self-esteem. In my own case, there was no self-esteem. There was none at all. You know, so coming from that, I now started seeing people who could say, you know, I was playing drums, I was playing percussion. You can hide in the midst of people. Nobody singles you out to come and perform, to do a solo performance or whatever. So I could hide in those people and do whatever I was doing because I play drums well and I'm very passionate about it. But when it came to comedy, I wanted to hide. But eventually they pushed me out. They said, you should do this thing, you should do this thing, that you could, and reluctantly, ladies and gentlemen, reluctantly, I tried this thing. So I dressed like a Hausa mascot, I covered my head, I covered my face, dark shades, all those things. It was supposed to be a vigil, and that was going to be the only time. That was my test. Is either I got it, it was either I got it right or I got it wrong. The pressure was so much. I was hoping that they would cancel my slot. Eventually the day came, and I want to believe that destiny came to play at that time, because when I mounted the stage for the first time and tried out comedy, when I started that time, I hadn't overcome low self-esteem, which is why I'm giving you all these stories so that you understand where I'm coming from. Because a lot of people are good at saying, I started this since I was young, since I was born, I started singing, I started comedy, I started speaking, I started this, I started that. No, you start from somewhere. I had little or no confidence. There was no confidence anywhere. For me, that night, I will never forget, 21 years ago. 20 years and one. The comedian who was invited, the one they invited before me, actually rehearsed with me before I went on stage. Back of the church, we rehearsed innocently. I had no experience, nothing. I rehearsed all the jokes that I knew with him. They called this guy before me. You know what happened? The guy used all the jokes that we used, all the jokes we rehearsed. And they called me immediately after him. I wanted to die. But destiny, like I said, I got there. I did the little I could do using different intonations and all of that. And miraculously, and I'll use that word, I'll emphasize the word miraculously. People laughed and they clapped, and that was how Holy Malam started. If they had not laughed that day, you would never have heard about Holy Malam. I'm talking about a place in Okokomaiko, Lagos State, Okokomaiko, not far from Lagos State University where we went to school then, And so that was how it started. Now, did I have confidence on the first day? Not really. If I did, I wouldn't have covered myself up, And as time went by, I started building on it. And that's why I want you to know this evening that, it is possible for you not to have confidence at all at some point. And it's also possible for you to have a measure of it and build on it. Confidence is a must-have. If you want to thrive in the marketplace of life, confidence is a must-have. Now, because I can't hear you people, I don't know if I'm disseminating vital information. Confidence is a must-have. In my case, sir, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Confidence is a must-have. I would like the questions to be generated so that as they come, I share that. And the reason why I decided to go to my path is that I don't sound like a conventional speaker who pick their texts or experience from people's books. No, this happened to me. So I like to teach what's practicable. What is practicable? It worked for me. If you use it, it could work for you. I'm not the type who will impose what worked for me on you, but I will share. Confidence is one of those things you need because there's competition everywhere, whether you like it or not. In my own case, I'm a comedian. In your own case, you could be a caterer. I've seen caterers, because of what we do, there are event planners, and they say, bring your food, bring your this, bring your that, vendors. And I've seen people who are confident. I've seen those who are not confident. At the beginning, it was not like this for me. From the way I looked, from the way I sounded, from my diction, from my exposure, from the experience I had, I didn't have anything at the beginning, but gradually, step by step. You know what? I made up my mind that I would not give up at some point. I saw a lot of things. There were people who told me to my face, is this the MC you got? Because even me, this was not a spiritual attack. I was the one who attacked the spiritual. My appearance did not glorify God. If you've heard jokes about people talking about coats, they wear coats, the shoulder is like this. They were not jokes I got from anywhere. It happened to me in real life. Year 2000, I went to buy coats from these Hausa guys, Tinumbu roundabout, I remember. I said, I won't buy coat. I called the coat. The Hausa guy too told me, say, coat, no problem. Now, Maka go get ya. I go get your size. So he brought the thing. By the time I wore it, it almost covered my glory. But because it was cheap, I had to buy it. That was all I had. So that was how I started. My appearance was not good. My belt would go around me twice. Those kind of situations are enough to take your confidence away. So I didn't look like I qualified to gather with those people. I had different types of audience, church, you could pass away, you could escape some things, church. But gradually, I'm talking about a 21-year journey. It started from church, where we could wear t-shirts, where we could wear bad shirts and all those things. But gradually, I started entering the corporate world, which I'll talk about later. But, at some point, I did not give up by myself or in myself. Confidence must be built when you are consciously working at it. At the beginning, I did not have. But I didn't want to give up. So I gradually. So I would have an imaginary audience. I would listen to people. I would watch because my diction wasn't good. My English, I couldn't coordinate my proficiency when it came to English. I couldn't flow this well. I was timid. My aunt made me understand virtually every day that I was nothing. My teacher, primary school, almost finished me. And that is how great people can be destroyed before they even get discovered at all. They didn't know they were doing any harm. What they knew at that time was what they were doing. They almost finished me. I went to Lagos State University, university, you see girls, ladies, they want to take pictures with me, this and that. Then, we did not have, there was no money. So it added, everything worked against me. Then I started comedy. What in the world gave me the boldness to go and start making people laugh? What did I have? What did I know? Anyway, those disadvantages, I guess, worked to my favor. I was slim. I did not look presentable. So I would talk about myself rather than looking at the audience and yapping people and making them feel bad, cracking jokes and receiving rounds of applause at people's expense. No, I used myself as the subject matter in some cases. I made sure, because I studied communication arts, and we know what's ethical and what's not. So I couldn't do dirty jokes, which would sell in most cases. I started in church. You are not allowed to do that. So what I had was what I gave. I tried my best, the intonation and all of that. So gradually I started building myself. It took a long time. There were times you go and attend weddings, the bride would just be telling the husband, is this the MC you got? Is this the MC you got? No, me, I don't want to. Why is it this one you got? I'm telling you, every time, one way or the other, my balance would be hanging in the balance because I wasn't sure I would go home with my balance, They would look at me and write me off. If people had said these things behind me, it would have been nice, but to my face, someone who did not have confidence, my self-esteem was non-existent. But you see, I don't want to speak Christianity and say, oh, it was God who did it for me. Of course, God did it for me. It's not as if I saw an angel who came to push me aside, take the microphone and speak on myself. No. Or speak on my behalf. I had to face it by myself. So I told myself that, okay, I'd been embarrassed, had been talked to, people had looked down, people had looked down on me, people had all sorts, my belt. And there's a way you can't hide the belt. When they see that the thing has gone around, there's a way to be puffy around your waist, so you are like a waste of time, all those things worked against me. But I knew something. I told myself that I would not be broken, that I would advance and I would go ahead. Different times, different things. But here we are today, 21 years and still counting. Now, I understand the importance of modesty and simplicity. I started life from the back side of town. So maybe that also helped. So maybe that also helped me. I stayed around Okuko. I was selling pure water for my mother. I was a student of Lagos State University. Before I got into LASU, it took me jam. I worked where they were selling, where they were manufacturing doing cubes, Okuko. They used to pay me 1,002 monthly. I would do 3 shifts and all those things. I had little or nothing. We used to owe house rent. I think we were successfully poor at that point, So everything worked against me. But I always told myself, and that's where this comes in. Always have it at the back of your mind that irrespective of how bad it is you started, where you're going, you will still go there, you will get there. My mindset had to be changed. You must consciously change your mindset. It's a very difficult thing. It's a very, very difficult thing. But each day you wake up, remind yourself that no, I don't belong to this place where people say I belong to. I belong to where the successful and the great people are celebrated. So that was part of what helped to push me. And the first event was disastrous. People said it was good. They clapped miraculously. The second one got better than the first one. And gradually, I started having my voice in the society. It was gradual, but I kept at it. I tried my best to get myself better. I had an imaginary audience. So Pastor Ade was saying something about a big field, a big field where they went to play. It was so big, they were overwhelmed by the size. So they were not able to perform, right? In my own case, because I had seen 1, 2, 3 things, I used to go as far as NTA that time. They used to pay us 500 every week, and sometimes they will owe us, they will owe us a lot, but I will still keep at it and all of that. So I used to imagine myself speaking in front of 50,000 people, winners. That was the biggest church then. House on the Rock invited me. Foursquare. Gradually, I worked on my diction. I worked on myself. Then I had to change my mindset. I had to build my confidence by myself. So you can do the same thing. It doesn't matter what it is you find yourself doing. If you're a caterer, you're a businessman, you're a businesswoman, you find yourself in this place called the marketplace of life, you must be confident. Confidence is what helps you compete effectively in the marketplace of life. Without confidence, nobody will listen to you. Everybody wants to to see what you have. What are you bringing to the table? How do you speak? How do you carry yourself? You know, initially, I used to be timid. They'll call me for events. How much do you want to take? I'll be asking them, how much do they have? You know, all those kind of things. I didn't believe in myself. Was I funny? Oh, yes. Gradually, I was beginning to find out. But at that point, I wasn't, you know, I had to build the thing. You know, times where they will say 2K, for instance, now. Yes, I've taken 500 naira before. The first time they ever paid me, it was 500. The other time I said 700. Later, they dropped the thing back. They took it back to 200. You know, last students and all of. Then there was a time Foursquare invited me. Foursquare youth program. Foursquare Jebako is close to Little Saint Orphanage. Onikpan, I will never forget that night. They paid me 1,000 naira. It was big with one chicken lap. I was awake. I did not sleep because after a vigil, I woke, my eyes were open like this till I got home because nobody, no devil could take that 1,000 from me. It was first 500, then 1,000. I was a big boy. We suffered. There was nothing, you know, so all of those things affected me, but gradually I started overcoming by building myself confidence. You know, there are a lot of things I have here at Civils, but I don't want to, Pastor, hope I've not over answered the question.
No.
If you allow me, I'll keep, you know, it's 21 years. So there's a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about.
Yes. The chat room has been buzzing. There are some questions, some comments, and some questions already. But however, you're doing very well. For those who do not know, we have this evening Oli Malam. Oli Malam is the #1 gospel comedian in Nigeria. The first person who took gospel comedy in itself as a genre of comedy into mainstream comedy. Remarkable work that he's done over the years, and he's given us the keys to, you know, building self-confidence. A lot of questions have come. I jotted. The model is once in a while, you're going to forgive me. I'm going to pause you. And I'm going to ask you to please slow down and all of that. We have a second guest.
I'm sorry. That was why I stopped.
It's okay. I wanted you to flow. And please, I saw you were struggling to be. Not struggle. I saw you were trying to dish out more. So you were not. You were trying not to do joke or being. Please, as much as.
Okay, exactly.
Fun and humor.
Okay.
Fun and humor is one of the things you have in heaven.
Amen.
In his presence, there's fullness of joy. At his right hand, there are pleasures forevermore. God laughs, you know. So my God is not a morose God. So please, let's have. Well, we have a second person on the panel this evening. He's a brother and a friend, an entrepreneur, all the way from Canada. Emmanuel Oluwatosin. He will also co-answer questions with Oli Malam on self-confidence. Emmanuel has built many startup organizations across the world, and he's done well for himself over the years. So Emmanuel is somewhere online already. He's going to put on his video. He will help us talk to entrepreneurs and those who have ideas and who would like to build their ideas. Emmanuel, welcome. Emmanuel has been a brother of many years, just like Oli Malam. Both of them have been my brothers for many years. So I'll be asking you questions and taking the lead. At different points, I'll be pausing both of you because I know you have a lot to say. Thank you for agreeing to be part of the panel today. All right. So I'll make both of you, I'll spotlight both of you. Let me just add Emmanuel. How do I do this now? Spotlight. Just a minute. Then I add Oli Malam to it. Add spotlight. Yeah. Thank you. Amazing, guys. So, Holy Malam, you mentioned a couple of things. You mentioned, number one, accidental discovery. You mentioned a lot of disadvantage factors in your upbringing, and I'm coming to that. You did mention an aunt and a teacher. You are now many years into adulthood, and you can remember them. They must have done something serious. So this is it. So lack of self-confidence or self-esteem is also built.
Yes.
You agree that it's also built?
Yes, it is.
And you can identify the builders.
Very good. Yeah.
So what did they do exactly? 2 questions, so that our participants can know that your lack of self-esteem and self-confidence was built. If it was built, it can be collapsed.
Mm. Mm.
It was built.
Yeah.
And it can be collapsed.
Yes, it can.
So what exactly did they do? How did they
Okay.
do it? And what was the effect of that on you? Please, I'll give you just about 2-3 minutes. What exactly did they do?
Okay.
And please don't
So,
forget, I said, please to feel free to put the humor. It's not a, it's a meeting of fun and laughter too. So
I know, but
so what exactly did these 2 people do?
okay.
And how did that affect you?
Let me start with my my teacher.
Yeah.
No. I since they say charity begins at home, let me begin at home. My teacher was an external force. My aunt was an internal force. Not aunt, my uncle's wife, we grew up together in this communal, whatever. So, my mom was a nurse. She would always attend night duty and all of that. So we would be around, with this so-called aunt. She would take care of our own children. And she would treat us like we're non-entities, we're useless children and all of that. And she didn't hide it.
What
You
does
know,
that mean? What does that
she would
mean?
maltreat us. She would maltreat me. She felt that I was useless. She felt that I was too playful. I don't know what I did. I remember those incidents very well. Maybe she didn't just like me. I don't know what she saw. But she used to make me feel I was worthless. There are times you ask us, in those days, while we're growing up, we'll hold meat. Not like now where you have boards where you can cut your meat with yourself. You will hold meat while the adults will be cutting it. I don't know if that happened to you. That was how we grew up. She would use a knife to slit my hand sometimes. She said, she would speak Yoruba. Oh, you are this. She used to do that to me many times. Not just that. I wasn't free around her. If I move, it's Wahala. If I do this, if I look anyhow, so she made life unbearable for me.
So
It
only
was,
madam, just a quick one. So she was acting and speaking.
the speaking was what the speaking was what accentuated the whole thing. Not
That's
that.
what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Please say that again. Say that again. Say that again.
The speaking was what accentuated. That was what made me understand the message.
Good. God, thank you very much. So lack of self-confidence or low self-esteem is spoken into existence.
Yes. Or can be spoken into existence.
Okay, can both be acted
and spoken, yes,
into existence. So
very
if you
good.
want, if you want to overcome it, look for the correct speech and the correct action, and then you can collapse it.
Find yourself in areas or among people who will appreciate you and not rubbish you.
Okay, so the model, because you kept saying it, that your people around the side saying you could do it.
Yes. Oh, now this was years after.
Yeah, because
after
the model.
my foundation. Yeah.
Yes. You see, the model by which something is built,
right,
you can tear it down.
Exactly.
So this person acted and spoke.
Yes.
Now there was another group that acted and spoke.
And spoke as well.
And by these 2 things, your confidence was built up by accident, such that you performed in a place you felt you were unqualified.
Yes, sir. That was at the beginning. Yeah.
So please, just a minute. Can you remember example of words and verbs that she used to use at you? Words and verbs and things she used to say specifically.
My aunt.
Yes.
Then she used to say it. She didn't use to mince words. Now that were useless children.
Thank you. Hold on. The word was useless. Now before I ask you this question about specificity, you've used the word useless before now. You've used it about 4 to 5 times, and I ask you for specificity because I was trying to test. and you just use it again.
Yes, sir.
Now, arising from the word useless, an identity began to form.
Exactly.
So that you were also believing
that I was useless.
So in between the actions and the words,
Yes,
a
sir.
belief system was created and installed. So that when it came to the time for you to do comedy, you couldn't muster the energy until an external force, because you use the word internal force and external force. That's what you said. You might not have heard yourself. You said, let me start from the internal force because charity begins at home. You said there was both an internal force and external force. You didn't call it internal factor or internal factor. So words and actions around your life constitute forces. And those forces create outcomes. And those outcomes become the capital that your life begins to release out.
Yes, sir.
I hope everybody has their pen and their writing. The lack of self-confidence and self-esteem that you have did not originate from heaven. God did not package you that way.
Yes, sir.
You most likely came to the world as a tabula rasa, and in the formative years, conversations and actions created a structure that made you believe that your enemy was useless.
Yeah, suggested to me what I wasn't.
And you were not useless, actually.
No, I wasn't. I from a very young age, I could tell, I could tell that I wasn't a dull child, and I just don't. I'm going to 45. I'm going to 45, and this happened when I was about 6, 7, from 6, 7. So I remember things. God bless me with a retentive memory. I remember things. I remember events. I remember statements. I remember smell. I remember. My cognitive reasoning is not normal.
Wow. So you could, based on natural endowment, you could not have been useless.
No, by God's grace, no.
Based on your intelligence, you could not have been useless. But our words and our actions were stronger than your innermost capabilities.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I hope our listeners are listening. Sorry, Olimala. My job here is to deconstruct the circumstances around these things so that we can know how to treat it. The law of people, lack of self-confidence is an African problem, to the point that when you are self-confident, you are seen as arrogant.
That is it.
In Africa, once you are self-confident, on top of that, you now start dressing fine. So what's wrong with yourself? Or you are now tall. We are so much used to lack of self-esteem and self-confidence that we beat those who are. Okay, so Emmanuel, yes, that Gloria says God has never made a useless person. Thank you for that syntax, Olimalam. I wanted that mental syntax to be clear, that there's a process by which a lack of self-esteem or a lack of self-confidence is built. If we can call it, for the want of a name, let's call it anti-confidence. There is a way it is built. It has a
Remember, it was my auntie. It was my auntie, so it's anti-confidence.
I love that. And you know what? Everybody has an anti-confidence. Here's the sobering truth. Auntie built and teacher built lack of self-confidence. Ordinary external friends build confidence. So don't be drawn away by the closeness or the familiarity of a relationship. It is the fruit of the relationship in your life that matters. And your IQ and your ability to remember, stellar, but somebody, and this is witchcraft. Witchcraft has no other meaning than the way, when everybody, those that grew up in Southwest, for different reasons, people made you feel sad for the length of your head. They made you feel sad for the length of your legs. And our parents also did this at times, not because they wanted to hurt you or create a non-self-confident child. They just wanted you to probably change your behavior, and they begin to hammer it. Okay, I'll go to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, as a manager of people, talent in the office, how have you seen confidence played out in people's lives, particularly techie people, young people? When you look at talent versus confidence, which one is more important? Somebody is a very good programmer. Somebody is an extremely fantastic programmer. The guy can program the heavens to the earth, but doesn't have confidence, or doesn't have that capital of confidence. And there's someone that doesn't know programming too much, but confidence is huge. Now, as someone who's managed teams, and we say these things about people that skill is key. That skill is once you have skill. But I've seen incredibly skilled people, incredibly talented people with low self-esteem and low capital. So as a manager of resources, you've done many startups now, some in partnerships, some friends we know. We've had occasion to work together and fight together, been in the room together and so Gary, so we know each other very well. So what you're thinking about confidence and skill, and skill capital and self-confidence capital? Which one supersedes, and as an entrepreneur, one who has managed people on the ground in terms of business, which one works and opens markets up? I need to hear from you.
Okay, interestingly, people always want people that are confident around them. So as a manager, you always want someone that can, especially if you have an ego, so you need someone that can look you in the eyes and tell you what you are doing is not going to work. And it takes confidence to be able to do that. And you painted a scenario of people very skilled and maybe not very confident. There's no way you can grow in the marketplace or your career without a confidence. Because when you are doing things, let's say you're giving maybe a task to perform in the office, you might perform it very excellently well. But someone that does maybe half of what you've done may be able to paint a picture that makes it look as if it's one that did everything. He or she will always get the recognition. So there's no way you can go far in your career without being confident. A lot of people just dumping a lot of things in your debt, but the person that is confident, that's always speaking out, will be the one getting recognition. And when there's a position available, maybe two of you have the right skills and they need to promote someone, his name will always come up ahead of you, no matter how good you are. Let's even say you are 10 times better than him or her. He or she will always get the recognition. So what I tell people is, like Holy Madam said, confidence can be built. I remember some years back when Reverend Sam started the radio program, he said he used to be looking himself in the mirror and talking to himself every morning. Yes, I can do this. Preaching, reciting the message he will say, just looking himself in the mirror and say, okay, you are a fine man, you can do this, you are able. And no matter how people use words to tell us down, my question will always be, what words are we saying? Are we speaking to ourselves? Forget about the words that other people are saying. The Bible says that life and death are in the power of the tongue. They that love it will eat the fruit thereof. Also, the Bible says that never say before an angel that it is an error. So people can use words, they can say anything they want, maybe against us. But what words are we speaking to ourselves? So for everybody that says any negative thing, it should be unconsciously respond immediately with the right word. So going back to the marketplace, you cannot go far without exhibiting a level of confidence. It is a given. Because I can give you a typical example. When I used to work in Nokia, there are people that every year they get promotion, they get salary increase. When maybe everybody's getting maybe 8 or 9%, they're getting 19, 20, 23%. And the reason is because not only their manager knows them in the office, the managers of other teams also knows them. So when they sit down at the management meeting and are talking about how they're going to allocate the rewards, everybody's always be saying good things about them. But for you, when it comes about skills, it might be only your manager that knows that, oh, this guy is a good guy. And the interesting thing, managers know when you want to get some things done in the office, they know who to give the work to. But when they need to send someone to a meeting or to represent the company, if you don't have the confidence, they will not send you. I have a friend that maybe Pastor you might know about, was talking about a scenario in the office where the company manager came in and addressed him anyhow in front of his colleagues about maybe the work he did. And what the guy did was, as the company manager turned back to go, he called him back and said, if you have any issue with my work, please address it. Never address me with any names. I've not brought in my personality to be attacked in the workplace. Just tell me straight what is wrong with the work and what you need me to fix. After that time, the company manager actually showed interest in him. And whenever they needed to do any maybe tough work, he will be the first person they will call. They say, oh, let's call this person to come and see if he can do it before they even look at other people. So there's a place for confidence, there's a place for skills, but skills can always be learned. They can train you, but confidence, it takes a lot of time, a lot of being conscious of who you are. I really want to talk about being with the right people. If your friends are not the one that lift you up, then you're in the wrong cycle. So it's better you just cut off right now. I have friends that are with me now that anytime we are talking, we're always looking at what we need to do in the next 15 years. We have plans created that we're reviewing every time. We're always talking good words into our lives. So if you think that, okay, you have maybe low self-esteem or low confidence, first check the words you are talking. You are talking to yourself every day. Check the people around you. If the words they are saying are not going to help you to achieve your goals or to lift you up, cut them off totally. There is no sentiment. And as parents, we need to be conscious of how we talk to our children also, because words can break or make them. When I used to grow up, my mom used to say something. Anytime I did something wrong, he would say, which means like, you this blessed child, because she understood the power of words. So I don't know, Pastor, if you have answered your question.
Absolutely. You actually gave some interesting models. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Oli Malam and Emmanuel, please let me put your Twitter handle and your Facebook handles and Instagram handles on the chat box. I want people to tweet some of the lessons and also put this on Instagram and Facebook if you can under the post for the event this evening. Thank you, both of you. Now, Emmanuel, you said something very powerful that I want to rehash. You can also tag me at Adeoye Abodrin. That's my name for our participants. Emmanuel, you said something very extremely powerful. So you're drawing up a formula. I mean, you're an engineer. Thank you. Let me go engineering. You're saying that success in the marketplace is equal to that skill set multiplied by the confidence factor. You're saying that confidence is the multiplier factor. So when the Bible says, do not cast away your confidence that has a great recompense of reward, the phrase recompense of reward is the multiplier effect, that it is your skill set multiplied by confidence that gives you access into the marketplace. Now that's something very huge, and I thank you for giving that formula out. I'm so excited at what you're saying. I have some questions for you, and I'm coming to those questions. I'll go back briefly to Oli Malam in just 1 minute. Oli Malam, so you did mention earlier on, and Emmanuel also alluded to that fact, because my next question is, so how is this confidence capital built up? You actually gave us some keys earlier. You mentioned practice. You mentioned how you practiced. Then all of a sudden, I like your example, all of a sudden, the jokes were out of the room. So coincidentally, one of the reasons why I wanted Emmanuel to be on the panel this evening, apart from the technical background he had, is because Emmanuel knew me when I was struggling to start comedy. You know, when I used to do it in family house, when Emmanuel was one of the people that said, you're doing this thing well, better start. Let's promote you. Start now. Start doing comedy. I mean, he's a great brother of mine, known over many years. So, my question is, so you practiced, yeah?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, everything you practiced, Mr. Big Comedian used.
Yes, sir. He did.
A comedian you actually know did this to me. He invited me to the event and he said I should come and do co-MC with him. Then anything I say, he will not come and amplify the joke.
That's it.
So I looked very stupid. I can't forget that experience in my life. So I remember that. So why did you call me? But we survived. So seriously, Holy Malam. So you mentioned practice.
Yes, sir.
But in that case, practice did not help you because you
Yes,
practiced,
Mm.
and then everything you practiced was out. And for
Yeah.
many of us, life doesn't go the way we planned.
Yes, sir.
Our certification can get used up. We can have debilitating circumstances. I know a lady that used to make a boast about her marriage. She used to boast to everyone. In 1 year, the marriage ended. She divorced.
Wow.
As her self-confidence was battered. How do we manage this? And if you've gone through it, how do you build your self-confidence up? Number two, when rehearsal does not corroborate with reality of stage, what do you do?
Mm.
And how do you ensure that this doesn't affect your self-confidence? You react to that, and the manual will react, and I'll take points out of it as we go.
Okay, so in my own case, okay, should I go first? Or?
Go ahead, Olimalam.
Okay. In my case, I was I was naive. That was my first time. That was actually the first brick I used in laying the foundation. So I had little or no experience. I just went. It was church, for God's sake. So I've always felt that church, everybody must be sanctimonious, have church mind and all of that. The guy almost finished me. I won't mention his name, but he has left Nigeria. Became friends. But that night he almost finished my destiny. Almost finished my destiny. Now, I did not have any experience. If I had known, I would have kept it to my chest. And now I got to the stage and there was nothing. I mean, we practiced about 7 jokes together. He used 8 out of the 7. He used 8 out of the 7. That means I entered the place with -1. I was owing him -1. And that was why I said that destiny came to play, because I think one of the things people should pay attention to, you must understand yourself. There's what they call self-worth. You must be aware of what you carry on the inside. Once you have it genuinely, if every other thing goes wrong, what you are wired for will help you out. What God has equipped you with will save the day. Imagine that I didn't have those intonations. I didn't know how to use the Hausa. I didn't know how to use the Igbo. I didn't know how to use the Yoruba and whatever. They would have just clapped me out of the stage. That was what saved me. So there are people, and as time went by, I met all sorts of people, the good, the bad. There is no ugly, because everyone God created is beautiful. I met people who will steal your ideas, people who steal this, people who, and like my brother said, he said that people who are experts at taking glory. Meanwhile, you did the job. So that was what happened. That was how my foundation was laid in this very wicked marketplace called the comedy industry. So you must understand what you have. The moment you know your onions, nobody can take your confidence. Once you know your onions, at least you know that I'm able to do this. Credibility. I know God has given me this. The moment you understand that, nobody can stop you. Then you consciously remind yourself that because I know this, I have a right to speak here. Because I have XYZ, I am eligible to call the shots here. So you to appear, go to the table with a knife so that you can take your own slice of the cake or pie. Initially, it was not like that for me because I didn't understand. He was supposed to be a friend who started comedy, and I thought he was going to help me. Forgetting, I didn't know that in life, nobody looks out for you. The industry you claim you're going into is already saturated with people who are, there's enough competition. Nobody will give you anything. You have to forcefully make space for yourself. I didn't understand those things. As time went by, okay, this is how it's done. Sometimes 3, 4 comedians, they call us and they say, okay, you say one joke, do this one, we have this event, who will do it? So I always prepared. I always reminded myself, I am the best. Then as time went by, there was this, I started watching Secret Laws of Attraction and all of those things to remind myself of what I carry on the inside. Sometimes you need to be reminded, remind yourself that after all, I'm the one frying this plantain. There's a reason why I fry my own. My plantain is different from from other people's. Mrs. Megbokwe who makes moi moi. We had people who were selling moi moi around us. We grew up 10 years, 20 years, they were still selling the moi moi, but they didn't have international recognition. But Mrs. Megbokwe came to the scene. She made her moi moi. Should I use it? No, not cosmopolitan. She made it international. Is it not the same beans they grind? So I guess she looked at herself and she looked beyond that local setting. So me too, because I started with, these guys almost took me out of business from the beginning. From the beginning, I wasn't given any chance. So as soon as I was able to see a little sign of acceptance, I just started going for it. What I didn't expect to have, I started biting more than I could chew. I was looking forward to greater things. I would imagine myself standing before presidents. I would imagine myself standing before general overseers. I would imagine myself standing before, thousands of people. And guess what? It worked for me. It worked for me. If I had not built my confidence, nobody would have listened to me. Nobody would have listened to me. So I would say confidence is part of the channels through which your gifts and your calling, your products and your services can be introduced to the world, because you have consumers, you have an audience. If you do not have confidence, you can't tell them that I have this thing and I know how to do it. Yeah, I'm telling you, because it was so bad. If the first few years there were events they invited me for, but because of how timid I looked at the meeting and all of, they didn't give it to me. The first year, second year, at some point it was only church. First year, second year, third year, I had to wake up. So at some point, everyone listening to me, there's a time where you must wake up. You must wake up. There is competition everywhere. People will be glad if you underperform. So confidence promotes, or confidence drives performance. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question well.
You did well. There's something very powerful in what you said. Confidence promotes performance. Then you mentioned something striking just a few minutes ago. There was an amount of business lost.
Yes, sir.
So
yes.
there's a P&L implication for lack of self-confidence.
Yes.
There is a balance sheet. There's an amount of money that you would not make, or an amount of result you would not get because of a lack of self-confidence. And
Yes,
when
sir.
things really go bad and they don't go according to your plan, or you find that you are derailed, self-confidence is a major way to actually bring things back on track. That's why you said, yeah, thank you for that. Confidence promotes performance. I agree with you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much powerfully. Do we have any question from the audience? I saw some earlier. I think it was the Gloria that wrote that practice promotes confidence. Before I go to the next question, that how can you practically build? You mentioned something, Malam, the conversations you hold with yourself. Emmanuel also said that the things you say to yourself and what other people say to you. I'll ask you, Emmanuel, and then Malam will take the question. Do we have any question before I ask them this question? Because this one is deep and it's going to be long. How do you build your self-confidence? I'll start with Emmanuel, and then we'll go to Malam. Before they answer that question, does anyone have any question you want to ask them before we go there, before we ask that question? You have any question? How do you practically build your self-confidence? And for those whose self-confidence have been battered, how can you rebuild it up? Okay, do we have anybody here? You have any question? Okay, no question. Emmanuel, over to you first, and then Olimala will take it after you.
Okay, thanks, Pastor Derry. I think the first thing is to be self-aware that, okay, you actually lack the confidence. Because If you don't know what the problem is, it's very tough for you to be able to determine the next step you need to take to get away from that problem. So you need to do a self-awareness review to be okay, where I am now, is this where I want to be? And there will be some things that you see around you that will let you know that you actually have low self-esteem or you have low confidence. So once you establish that, okay, this problem actually exists, then the next thing for you will be there are things that you are running away from. I can give you a typical example. When I was in university, I used to be afraid of standing in front of people. And it was really so bad that as far back as year two, I was now made one of the students that will be teaching tutorials in the fellowship and your mates. So one of the days, I remember one day that I was in the class and I almost collapsed. One, because I was like, if they ask me any question, what am I going to say? And something just came to my mind. It said, you are here because you have something to offer. So if they have something to offer to, they'll be the one standing in front in your position. So there and there, and what I started doing was instead of looking at people in the eyes directly, I started looking above their head. So when I'm looking at you, you think maybe I'm looking directly into your eyes, but no, I'm looking over your head. And with that, it allows me to build some level of confidence. And what I'm trying to say about that is we need to embrace what's actually scaring us away. That thing that is making us feel we have low self-confidence, we need to embrace it. That is one. The second thing I will talk about is the need to get a mentor, especially in the marketplace. There are people that have gone ahead, they know what you need to do, they can position you very well in the company. I can give you a typical example. One of my roles, we used to have like a weekly global meetings. And for the first 2 months on the call, I would keep quiet because I would not even know what to say. Or whenever I'm trying to say something, someone else will chip in. Until one day, on the call, my manager will send me a message to the private chat. Emmanuel, you need to talk now. Say this. And if I said something and someone was trying to challenge me, my manager will jump in and said, this, what man actually said, actually made sense is because of this, this, this. So we all need someone like that can lift us up, like a mentor that can help, especially the marketplace, someone that can look after you. And the beauty of that is when they're having a discussion in the office about maybe structuring, laying some people off, those people always look after you. I can give you a typical example. There was a time in the office, I was offered a new role, and the role, I didn't like the role because it was not an upward movement I was looking for. It was just lateral movement. Unknown to me at the time, there was plan to shut down my unit. But because I had someone in the office that I look up to like a mentor, while they were having the management meeting, they were only looking at, oh, these are our guys that we need to look after. These are the things we need to do for them. So they had fixed all of us in different positions before they announced that my unit was going to be shut down. So we always need that kind of mentor in the office place, people that will look after you. And they will always tell you when there's a new position, they will tell you what you need to go for, and they always fight for you. The third thing is your friends. Who are the people that you are with? If your friends are not going anywhere, you cannot achieve anything. If your friends are the ones that are timid, always afraid to talk, it will rub on you. Even if you are very confident before, it will rub on you. And eventually, you will lose a measure of the confidence that you have. The fourth thing is the words that you say and what you see and what you listen to. One of the things I did in the early stage was listen to a lot of Samadi and Pastor Samadi's messages and Bishop Oyedepo. And because if you are talking about maybe a confident man, right now in Nigeria, you can't count maybe 3 before you mention Bishop Oyedepo. The way he talks, the way he sees things, will always rub on you. And when you listen to people, someone said that you are 5 years from now, by the books you read, the people you relate with will shape you, whether directly or indirectly. I think I can just stop there and allow Olumalam to chip in.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you for that, Emmanuel. Mentorship, what you tell yourself, particularly your personal conversations, and the kind of information you expose yourself to. Awesome one there. Awesome one there. Thank you for that, Emmanuel. I have some questions on those ones, but Oli, over to you.
Yes, sir.
How can one overcome a lack of self-confidence or low self-esteem?
My brother took some out of my mouth. I'm very familiar with situations like this, where we have like minds, one of the things I noticed that I did that helped me is that those people, my chosen field, the likes of Alibaba, Alibaba. Then I started watching the likes of Bill Cosby. These guys would do those things. They would crack jokes. And that I started as a comedian, Hausa style comedian, who was going to eventually become a master of ceremonies. So I started looking for the likes of, I actually had many mentors, Uncle Yinka Craig of blessed memory, Dr. Livia Jonoma of blessed memory, Mr. Ikenna Ndagoba, the mentorship came into it. Not only did I go and meet them to mentor me, because whatever time they give you, whatever time they have is what they give you. From a distance, I started watching these men. I started watching men and watching these men and women. There was also Auntie Shalakwe and Fumi Yoda. All these people helped me. I was privileged to meet them. Then I would watch their shows and listen to them. Watch what they did that made them relevant. Watch what they did that kept them on TV. Dr. Olivia Jonoma used to do a lot of corporate events, and that was what I really desired, to be an MC who would intermittently crack jokes, which was what happened for me eventually. But I had to consciously follow them. Sometimes they are not available. You go with them to events, you watch them. Then I started watching TV. I started watching British newscasters so that I could get my diction right. I could speak English right and not use the wrong tenses, because for every wrong English or wrong statement, your value drops. I am not saying that it's written somewhere where this is established, but I'm just saying that's what I felt. Then, the better you spoke, the better events you got, the quality of events you got, and all of that. So what I'm saying in essence is that watch the kind of people, those people in your industry you want to be like. Not only should you attain the heights they've attained, you should try to surpass it. Be an improvement on whatever it is they did, that you want to become. That's one. Then number two, there's what they call situational analysis, audience analysis. In every business, you have your customers, consumers, or target audience. For you to appeal to them, because at the end of the day, what you're doing is about them. They are the ones who will pay you or reward you for whatever it is you're doing. Understand the language, learn the language they understand. Try everything to speak that language to them. It will encourage relevance. Whatever, and move with the trends. Whatever it is they like, whatever it is that is ethical. In my own case, no matter what happened, there was a time, I don't know if I can mention this. There's no brand. It's not a branding. It's not a branding meeting. There was a time St. Maurice invited me. They were going to pay me well, but for me personally, I just said, I'm sorry, it was good. The money was good, and I didn't do it. There were some other ones I did not do it. Now, if anyone says you are a Christian, you are this, yes, leave me like that. Remember that I started in the church before I moved into the corporate world, and I started doing presidential events and all of that. But you see, I had to look for, I had to be relevant. So audience analysis, yeah, I started speaking the language they understood, not pidgin English anymore. Not speaking English anymore. And as time went by, I would look at myself and check myself again. check the videos of events that I did. You know, the more I did it, the better I thought I became. There was always room for improvement. I started dressing better. Money started entering small, small. I started looking, you know, I started looking like a big boy, even though there was no car and all of that, but gradually. Then the last thing, you must change your mindset. You must change your mindset wherever you find yourself. Now, I'm not saying you should be arrogant. There's a thin line between being arrogant and being confident. Confidence is a must-have, like my brother said earlier. Confidence is a must-have because at some point, you must speak to people. People want to hear your success story. So even before you become successful or great, always play that at some point you will speak to them. So me, in my poverty, in my failure, I started painting, I started painting pictures of how I would, you know, what's happening today. I didn't know that at some point that Zoom will be in vogue, no. But I always prepared myself that one day I will speak to people on how I made it. So I started working on my mindset. Yeah, we did not have money. We could not afford sugar. We used to eat gari dry like that. Amala extra. For those who attended last week, I could not afford it. It was zobo and donut. It was do not then, because donut used to have jam in it. My own was jammed because where you will have the jam inside, they have cut it. It's those round ones like this with zobo under the tree. Once you enter last with faculty of arts, you know, that was how I grew up, and nobody gave me a chance. At some point, you must wake up, change your mindset, and say, "This is what I am. This is what I want to be." When they talk about great people, by the grace of God, 5 years, 10 years, me too, I must be there. I've met 11 presidents in 21 years. 11 presidents. Presidents, I would say they should stand to their feet. They should sit. You know, I don't want to go. I don't want to bore you with all of that. But those are the things I did that helped me build my confidence. At some point, people even felt that this guy is not arrogant, but within myself, I knew I was not arrogant. I knew that in 95, I did not have shoes. I had only bedroom slippers. Even in my poverty, I had a preferred color, red. Amen. So I hope I was able to answer that properly, sir. I don't want to take too much time.
Thank you very much. So many things you said. I have 2 questions, but let me open the floor again. Do we have anybody who wants to ask any question? I mean, that last comment was hot. Even in poverty, there was a preferred color of slippers. Okay, now, thank you. All right. Good. That was one of my questions. In corporate Nigeria, there's a thin line between confidence and pride, or confidence and arrogance, and some directors or bosses can misinterpret confidence as pride, and they use that to embark on a witch hunt. How do you manage this? How do you know the difference between the two? I will let Emmanuel speak, and then Oli Malam, please answer that question, because I also had that question in mind.
Okay, I think there's a thin line, but when you know what you're talking about, for instance, let's say you told maybe your boss that, okay, you're going to deliver A by Thursday, and by Thursday you deliver that exactly. After some time, even though many people may think you are arrogant, but they always say, oh, leave that guy alone. He's very confident. We have someone like that in my office at the time, and he has a say in everything that is happening. And people kept wondering, what is wrong with this guy? Is he the only one in the office that before they say anything, he always jumps at it? So for me, it's more around let your skills speak for you. People may misunderstand you at the beginning. They might think, oh, maybe you are proud or something, but with your work, and that is why, even though we place a lot of emphasis on being confident, your skill set also now comes into play. Because when you're having conversation with people, you know what you're talking about. You are not just talking nonsense. So you're backing your conversation with data, and it can support any recommendation, any suggestion that you give to people. People will still want to deal with you. I had that experience. there is something that happened to me at the time, and my manager felt threatened by me, and maybe Pastor you might know about the story. And he told his own boss that I was very useless. That I was very useless. I didn't know what I was doing. And there was one event, one product I was meant to launch at the time. 2 days to the event, the global leader came to the country and they told me all the documents I had prepared for the event. They told the people to shred the speeches I prepared, everything, that they should forget about it. You will have to prepare a new one. That if it was the money that prepared them for you, forget about it. In front of everybody in the office. And for me, I really felt bad, one, because I was like, I'd put in so much effort into this. So he asked me to put in everything I prepared into a folder and send to him that I wanted to review it. 2 hours later, he sent an email to all the people he told to discard what I prepared and told them that they could go ahead to use what Emmanuel prepared. And I was just laughing, one, because one, you thought, okay, maybe I didn't know what to do because of what my manager told you. And we went for the event. At the event was so successful. And he called me at the end of the day and said he wanted to have a conversation with me that this was the best event he had ever attended. He has been going to so many countries, but this was the best one he will attend with so much energy. It took me to meet the leader of the partner organization that we were working with at the time, to introduce me that, okay, this was the guy behind this product, the event, everything. At the end of the day, he started talking to people in the office, asking about me, what do you think about this guy? And most of them were saying so many great things about me. And he told me there and there, said, anytime you are sending things or any information to your manager, I want you to copy me because I need to know what you are doing. I need to be visible on what you are doing. Apparently, anything I sent to my manager and was sending to him, he removed my name. So I was making it look as if I was one doing all the work. And what I was trying to say is, people, you always have people that want to reach out to you, but focus on what you are good at. Your skill set will always find you out. The Bible said that set a man that is diligent in his work, he will stand before a king, he will not be a mere man. And that verse always guides me, which means it is either I'm standing for the king or I am going to be the king myself. So there is no other way. I have to be one, either of the two. So I will say, forget about what people are doing to you. No matter how confident you are, no matter how good you are, the people that will reach on to you will do it. But don't let it debar you from doing the right thing. The good you do will always find you out and will always stand for you eventually. Over to you, Pastor Day.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. That was deep. I know the story, and I know eventually what happened. You can have managers that can misinterpret you, and that was the case of that guy. Remarkably egoistic guy, and it's a long story. That's some 12, 13 years ago, if I remember very well. Okay, Oli Malam.
Yes, sir.
How do you handle this when your self-confidence is being seen as arrogance or as pride? Because in our climb, there's just a thin line between the two. How do you manage this?
From someone who was once someone who was once deficient, I won't care whatever they want to say, they should say. Because when I did not have it, when there was no confidence, nobody knew me. I had to work on it. At some point, I would prefer that you have more of it than not have at all. If you do not have confidence, you will not have a say. You are not eligible to come to the table. What are you bringing to the table? You'll be seen as a non-entity, so nobody hears your voice. I am not saying that I will condone or condone arrogance or encourage it, but I mean, if you know your onions, you should do the needful. speak with confidence. If people, and like you said earlier, in the part of the world where we come from, a lot of people cannot stand your confidence. People do not expect you to be confident. People don't expect you to speak. You know, they expect you to be afraid and things like that. People expect you to be subservient, especially when you work in an organization where you have people ahead of you and all of. In my own case, yeah, I heard someone who said very few. I've tried my best possible to remain as humble as possible, because this thing called stardom, sometimes if you're not careful, it can enter your head, you know. So I remind myself. I remember the bedroom slippers days. I remember when we did not have money. I remember when our landlord wanted to eject us. So I remember where I'm coming from, but it doesn't stop me from doing what I know how to do there. So I started changing what I was wearing. I could afford blazers. I didn't wear coats anymore. My belts were my size. You know, my shirts had enough starch, and my perfume were always on point. The cologne, whatever. You know, I looked the part, I spoke the part, and but only on very few occasions did I have people who thought that I was arrogant. Never. You can't be arrogant and keep business going. You must appeal to your target audience. You must appeal to your consumer. So we're always respectful. In most cases, the HR people, good afternoon, sir. This, that. You respectfully approach them. So where do they have the opportunity? Where, and sometimes people have their own candidate. So they just look for, at the slightest provocation, they just say, oh, you're arrogant. In my own case, I've tried my best possible not to be arrogant. What have I seen? We have people like Ryan Seacrest and the likes. They are multimillionaires in dollars, you know. So I believe we are just sprouting. What have we seen? We take 1 million, 2 million per event. Is that what you've not arrived? But then it won't stop me from doing what I know how to do. It has taken me years to develop myself. To start with, there was no confidence anywhere. Now I have it. You want to say it's too much? If it's too much, please, I want to celebrate it. I don't know if I answered you well, sir.
You did, and there's a comment. Thank you very much. At the end of the day, you're better off with more self-confidence. And I hear both of you. I know, yeah. But how do you delineate between the two? Interestingly, there's a question in the chat room. Somebody said, sometimes too much confidence can deprive you from the table in corporate Nigeria. Even in the church leadership, some pastors try to suppress people when they have very high self-confidence and are competent. Sometimes, so that's what this my lovely brother is saying. What do you both think about this? What do you think, Oli Malam? What do you think?
Okay, should I just go ahead and say something?
Yes.
Unfortunately, this is the situation we find ourselves in. You know, church organizations and all of that. If you've received how to manage it now, if you ever get to receive that feedback that, oh, you are arrogant, go and work on yourself. If the shoulder of your suit was too high, bring it down a bit. I'm not saying you should now look wretched and look timid because of one person. You know, try your best. Like I told you earlier, if you remember some minutes ago or about 1 hour ago, I told you that modesty plays a very important role, but it does not take away my confidence. You know, so my simplicity should not be mistaken for timidity. No, I used to be timid and all of that, but I can speak to you based on what I know. Based on what I know, with facts backing it. So I won't come and tell you that what are you looking at. There are comedians or MCs who come to your office and they'll pick on you. Madam, why your shoulder pad be like this? Red you spray for body. I've been a perfume. Which one? You know, all those kind of useless things. I learned not to do them, but it will not take my confidence away. XYZ is what I'm charging. Tell you that I'm taking $500,000. They say, when did you start? Even this guy, Kiniko. He didn't take, that's him. He did not go through what I went through. Me, I'm saying for now, this is what I want. If you can pay it, fine. If you can't pay, no problem. And someone just said, yeah, you see, insecure people will always be intimidated by confident people. At some point, I was insecure, but I had to get a cure for insecurity. You know, I don't know if I've answered that, but just go and work on it. If they say it's too much, tone it down a little bit, but that doesn't mean you should erase it. No, it's a lot of work to build confidence. You can't afford to lose it. Without it, as a matter of fact, you will only be exposed to crumbs in life. It's confidence that makes you say, I want this, I deserve this. Without it, I'm sorry, it's boys cutters.
Yeah. So maybe if I
We
can
will,
chip in.
Okay, Emmanuel. Yeah, I
Yeah, we can
wanted
chip.
to
Go
add
ahead.
to what Olimal about. I'll take my comment after you. Let me just take 30 seconds.
Okay, so go ahead, yeah.
Just a minute, Emmanuel. There's something also called emotional intelligence. And Oli Malam did mention situational awareness. Watch the occasion, the situation, and deploy emotional intelligence. Of course, self-confidence is the only way to go, but never, ever, ever reduce the place of situational awareness or situational intelligence and emotional intelligence. In fact, I'll add cultural intelligence. Three kinds of intelligences to cultivate with your confidence: emotional intelligence, situational intelligence, and cultural intelligence.
Yes, sir.
Let occasion serve you well. About pastors and churches, I'm part of the accused community. Pastors, I'm a pastor too. A lot of things that meet the eye are going on. Maybe that's going to be my last comment. Then I'll let Emmanuel take his point. Emmanuel, over to you. Over to you,
Okay.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, I think for me is very, very clear on how to maybe respond, how to work in the workplace. As a servant, we are meant to obey our maybe our leaders and submit. So if you talk around emotional intelligence, no matter how bad a manager is or how insecure a manager is, he or she wants to be seen as is in charge. So the thing is, you might need to rub the ego, just make him feel he's in charge or she's in charge. It doesn't take away your confidence. When you're talking to him, just make sure that you have your data right when you're having a conversation. But anytime he or she wants to shut you down, just accept and move on. Always allow him or her to have the final say, basically. And the person that maybe ate you before and maybe doesn't like you. Okay, someone just said that okay, disagree with Robin and ego. For me, when I say Robin and ego, it means around focusing on what you need to do. Your JD is clear on what you need to do. Do it. Run away, get away from the politics. Just get away from the politics. Do what you have to do. Yes, some managers are toxic, but again, the most toxic people, you can win them over with your humility and with your competence. Every manager wants good people in their team. If you keep showing that you are very good and you stand up for what you believe in, even if you are 1 against 20 people, your manager will always air you out. Eventually, his ego may come in and he may want to have the last say, but just know that, okay, before you say anything, have your data right, because the manager is always looking for loopholes in anything you do. So it means when someone is putting 100%, you have to put in 120% or 150%. Match your confidence. That is the only way you can thrive in that kind of environment.
Thank you very much. I want to just, do we have anybody who wants to ask a question, or you actually want to give a comment while we're waiting for you to raise your hand if you're in that category? Excuse me. I'd just like to add to what, apologies for that, what Emmanuel and Oli Malam have said about ego, toxicity, managers, and all of those. The assignment is for you as a, if you're, I'm speaking now because you're a Christian, to understand your environment and understand the reality of that environment. Until you are aware of the environment, be careful, understand what's going on. Number two, understand your boss. Watch your boss. Make sure that all the adjectives you have used to label your boss are true. Until you understand the person, chances are that you misunderstand each other. That's the only, once you don't understand the person well, you misunderstand each other. So understand your boss, understand the person. I'll just make a comment about the word ego. Okay, don't let me go there because that will take us a long time to resolve it. But the word ego in itself is not the problem. There's another thing going on, which is called pride. Truly eliminate pride in terms of being haughty and high-minded in your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your imaginations, your memory, the internal haughtiness of heart, the internal conversation that is that sees yourself as superior as compared to others. When you deal with that mental imagery of feeling that you are superior to someone else, seldom would you give off body language that will mean, because your actions always follow your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and imaginations. It's not easy to demonstrate superiority complex or pride, all things being equal, if it was not in your mind, that being issue. Examine your mind whether it is devoid of that, what we're calling ego. Although ego, the original word ego is good, but what we call ego, which is pride, arrogance, and all of those. Let me tell you, yes, there are pastors and people in systems and structures who actually do not like to be antagonized. They don't like to be spoken against. They don't like to be stopped, or the things that Brother Henry has said. But everybody wants a good man. Everybody wants plus factors on their team. Everybody wants people that have competence to support them. If somebody were to be my doctor or my driver or my engineer, a unique value is being brought to the table, and that person has competence, and the person is speaking from a constructive mindset, why would I not listen? Ceteris paribus. But if the person is very competent, but the person is coming because one of these days, the person wants to do evil. So that the reason why you raised your hand, Emmanuel, you were not trying to outdo your boss. You didn't do that presentation because you wanted to make the man look stupid, or because you wanted to, if the origin of the thought in your mind starts from the position of, I want to rubbish this man, or this man, I want him to look bad. If you're able to hide it, blessed are you. If you are not able to hide it and circumstance brings it out, you probably are gone. That was David's destruction. David was not the one that brought it out. It was the women that started singing. Now, if there are other parts of David's life that will show that he saw himself as better than Saul. But by the time he was in the wilderness, later in future, he had learned. But it took wilderness. Before then, David was a very, very funny guy. He had to learn by suffering that there are times to put that your talentedness and your creativity and your excellence does not give you the permission to roughshod authority, because authority is put there to help all of us. Now, I have seen people who have a staff member who really his or her intention is malicious. And this person wants to prove to management that, or prove to people that he is better running the entire ship. And this person is on your parade. I mean, you are the manager or you are the boss. Please, until, and there are people that say these things until they become, now this is the interesting part. All people I know that complain that their manager was arrogant to them, or that all the managers they've worked with hate them. By the time they become bosses, they are much more stronger terrorists. That's the funny part. I'm sorry, I'm using the word terrorist. If the state of the heart of this employee or this person is truly to help the organization, support the manager, support the business, help excellence, help growth, all things being equal, that manager should actually be on your side. Oh, some managers are very egotistic, some of them are very wicked and all of those. But ensure that that is not the state of your own soul. Do you want to outdo your boss? Do you want to take all the competencies you have? I know people are very competent, but they're also not loyal or to be trusted because their competencies mislead them to think that they can own the ship, and the manager or the owner of the business can see this thing. So that your strength is qualifying you for mistrust. At the back of Judas's mind, Jesus was not a sharp guy enough. All traitors must dissent from the leading authority from a perspective of feeling that they are better or that they are the new alternatives. When any manager or any leader sees this is, look, even God could not stand it in the devil. He had to send the guy out of heaven and send him to us on earth. And now on earth, the guy has breed that character. God Almighty could not stand that thing. It is called institutional rebellion. If it's not in your soul and you're just confident doing your job, trusting God for your future and your outcome, please, by all means, you have no reason. But many people that say these things, you don't know what the manager sees. You don't know the body language. And you may be appearing like that. So the manager is misinterpreting you. That's why I say understand your manager. There's some people that when you raise your voice at them, they can't stand it. They think you want to take over the office. Once your manager is that kind of person, lessen your voice because that's not who you are. Let me, only Madam and Emmanuel, let me hear you. And if any other person wants to add, that's my balance to humility and all this was talking. Anybody wants to say something?
What you said is spot on, sir. The word actually is situational analysis. Knowing your environment, the kind of people you work with, your bosses, your clients, what they like, that you can do, that is not, that doesn't go to the extreme, things like, oh, this person likes you to appear humble, this person likes you to appear respectful. The moment you do all of that, I think you're good to go. But it doesn't stop you from doing what you know how to do best. And my approach over the years, the past how many years, we have meetings and all of that, I respectfully tell them, this is what I think we should do. I won't add to it. But some of them, a few others, I don't like him. He's not, he's not Igbo. He's not Hausa. He's not this. And me, there's no one I won't fit into. My wife is Igbo. My mother is Hausa. I'm Yoruba. So I love everyone. I fit in everywhere. But some people are not satisfied. So whatever it is, just try your best possible. Do what you can do. Don't kill yourself because of anybody. But I'm still saying, ensure that your confidence is intact. Your confidence is intact. I'll close with that. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take Emmanuel. Emmanuel, your last comment.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more around, no matter what you do, just make sure you do everything unto God. Because when it comes to where people are making decisions that you are not there, it's only God that sees the heart. So when God sees that, okay, you have a pure heart towards a manager or towards people, God will always stand up for you. And no matter what people are planning, God will always make out a way of escape for you. So I would say do everything as unto God. And like Holy Manam said, understand what the manager actually wants. There are things that it can't do without. And no matter, and even the people that we call arrogant in the office, we discovered that there are even some of them are one that the managers always go after because they know that they will always deliver, maybe when there is tight deadlines, when maybe there's an issue in the office. So understand your manager very well, then do everything as unto God, because God is the only one that can fight for you, and God is the friends maker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to make a last comment. Remember the plumb line I gave. What is the state of your heart? Thank you for that, Emmanuel. Do your work as unto God, and God, your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you in the open.
On the
What
open.
is the state? Look, Henry was saying there are some people who are playing, they have to, and yeah, it's true. But let me tell you, even the most toxic person likes excellence. Even the most toxic person likes success. Let me tell you another dimension to these things. When you are leading a team, and maybe one of the topics we're going to do one of these schools is leadership intelligence. When you are leading a team, dissenting behaviors are not totally desirable in management, because management is by design. If management has said we want to move in the direction of X, and you are very creative, managerial intelligence is to call your manager into a closed room meeting. That's emotional intelligence. That is trying, because at the end of the day, you are looking for the best result for the team, not that you want to show that you are the most intelligent person in the room. And your body language and your attitude is not in any way threatening. And here's the last part. Some of us have not gone through any emotional intelligence training or reflectometers to even know that you have a body language that's threatening. There are some people that your body language, you enter the room, you know that video that this guy dressed and said, "What I don't know what that video." That guy that is all over social media, and police was behind him and he was doing like this inside in native. There's some people that have body language that's like David's body language, where you don't even know that your body language is giving off a signal. Now, I have suffered this in my life as a person, and I'm encouraging you. Yes, without saying a word, you're already feeling intimidated. Now, you need to go through training and behavioral adjustment training so that people are, because there's leadership from behind, there's positional leadership, so that people are generally comfortable with you. Your good suggestion is, let not your good heart be evil spoken of. I can share with you many scriptures. It said, be as gentle as a dove, as wise as a serpent. A serpent knows how to blend with the environment. That's how everybody is seated. Everybody is seated in the meeting room, and then you are coming where everybody has been seated. Of course, meeting time says 9, but everybody sits at 8:30, and they're already bantering, and then they are settling down. Then you come at 5 minutes to 9 when everybody is quiet. Of course, meeting starts at 9, but next week, stop being the one that is obnoxiously, and then you enter the room with your perfume and everything very loud like that. Look, you still came to time, but managerial intelligence, you are not intelligent with the situation of your team. If everybody speaks in an office very measured, we're going to round up in a minute now, very measured, and then your voice says, sir, you have not approved my leave. You have not approved my leave, sir. And the entire team is seated here, and they are hearing, sir, management has given us 2 o'clock as the closing time. Now, after a while, the man is going to not like you anymore. What's wrong with you? Why are you behaving like that? I trying to tell him, I trying to be innuendo say he doesn't know time, or your boss is talking to you and you're looking at time. Sir, give the instruction, let's go and start this so we can finish on time, sir. All those kind of body languages. Now that's confident, you can do the job on time, but excuse me, being as wise as a serpent, if you look at the serpent from underneath the belly, it blends with the sky. If you look at the serpent from on top, it blends with the environment. He said, learn to study to be quiet, minding your own business. There are workplace emotional intelligence. And maybe we're going to take this emotional intelligence for Christians, because some persons come across as arrogant and proud when really you're a very humble and friendly person. Anyway, those are my last comments. One last comment, and then we do last prayer, and then we round up this lovely. Okay,
praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
I've learned a lot from this session. I must say I really appreciate. I like the fact that there's been a huge balance with all the detailed and deep content. There's been a balance and at high level about this confidence and competence and all that overall. And it's been quite a very, 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 very useful and fruitful one, I must say. And me personally, coming from a very competent background, I worked with the early stages of my career. I worked with very competent bosses who had zero tolerance for low self-esteem. They wanted to come out. They wanted to be extra confident. And then I entered the political environment. So now getting the balance between those kind of environment where you work in the first place on the first name basis, and then you enter in that space where someone wants to be the boss and is not competent. He knows next to nothing about the job, or just privileged to be there. Learn all these learnings, and from this your comment, just few comments to give now, is a whole lecture on its own that one can take home and apply these things and improve on, and get that self-awareness to blend yourself into the right environment and understand when to speak. Look at the atmosphere, look at the body language in your room. So sometimes you may just let some things go and all that, so which will help. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you, Olimalam. Thank you, brother. I can't remember your name again.
Emmanuel.
Brother Emmanuel, and thank you, Prophet Adie. God bless you so much.
Yes. God bless you. Thank you for that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I would like you to unmute your microphone, everyone, and help me say thank you to Emmanuel from Canada, Olimalam all the way outside from out there in Dallas, Texas. Everyone say, unmute your microphone, say thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Olimalam.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Holy Madam. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you, Sazama.
Thank you,
You should come again and talk again now.
Okay.
Enjoyed it. Me, I don't want to go.
Most certainly, we will bring
Wonderful session.
Emmanuel Olimalam back for some other sessions. But on self-confidence as a form of capital, here's where we draw the curtain this evening. On behalf of everyone, I want to say special thank you to Emmanuel, my brother and friend, blood brother of many years, lovely guy, one of those people who understand me and I understand him. And Olimalam, another brother man of many years. Thank you so much for being a pillar of light and support. Good-hearted, both of you are personally to me in my life journey, and there are spaces where you feel vulnerable, you can talk to people. Both of you stand in that position with me, and that's why people that come to this program must be able to be real. For all our participants from everywhere in the world, this is a school of learning. We have found that we've been praying to God, but the results are not commensurate with the prayers yet. We want people to have capacity and capital to be able to deliver results at the level of the spiritual energy of God available in their lives. And I am excited, and really I believe God for all of us that we will get to the point.
Is it not hot?
That will get to the point that the Lord has said
even while I was
concerning
having
our lives in Jesus' name. Sister Tolu, it is very hot. God bless you. The Lord be with us in Jesus' name. Dr. Nowola, thank you for that contribution. I saw it earlier. God bless you. Everyone who contributed, thank you, Brother Henry. Everyone, I love you. Next Wednesday, we reconvene at the same time, 7 p.m. We will be treating issues and life issues that transform. I really want you guys to ask questions. You're not asking questions enough, but God will help us. 12:30 tonight, we continue in the School of Intercession and Prayer. We are going to touch heaven, and every single night like that, 12:30 to 1:30. God bless you. I love you all. Emmanuel Olimalam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the privilege.